I hear the beat, it's in my chest. Got me feeling some kind of way. I confess the rhythm takes over.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Legal World. Myself Dr. Seema Goyal. In the series of company law, today I am going to discuss one of the most important questions relating to the company law that may be asked for 20 marks in the coming exam. My question is relating to the majority rule and minority protection and the prevention of operational mismanagement. This question is one of the most important questions for the coming exam. If we talk about the majority rule and minority protection, this rule is also known as rule of supremacy of the majority. The general principle of company law is that every member holds equal rights with the other members of the company in the same class. The principle of rule of majority is applicable to the management of the affairs of the company. Since the majority shareholders are in the advantageous position to run the company in accordance with their command, so the majority shareholders oftenly misuse the powers vested in them. So the protection of minority shareholders within the domain of corporate activity constitutes a difficult problem facing the modern company law. Thus the company law provides for the adequate protection for the minority shareholders when their rights are violated by the majority of the shareholders. But the protection of minority is not available when the majority does any act in the exercise of their power for the internal administration of a company. The court will not usually interfere at the instance of shareholders in the matters of internal administration and will not interfere with the management of the company by its directors so long as they are acting within the power conferred on them by the article of the company. In other words, the article are the protection sealed for the majority of the shareholders who comprise of the board of directors. The basic principle of non-interference with the internal management of the company by the court was laid down in the famous case. That was the case of Force versus Harbottle. In this case, it was held by the Honorable Apex Court that at the instance of shareholders, the court will not interfere in the matters of internal management and the administration of the company, so long as directors are acting within the powers conferred on them by the constitutional documents of the company. In this case, a suit was filed by the two shareholders, F&T of a company, on the behalf themselves and all the other shareholders against the directors and solicitors of the company. They allege that the directors and solicitors, by their fraudulent and illegal transactions, had caused the company's property to be lost. So the defendant should be asked to make the good the company's losses. Here the question was whether the suit was maintainable or not. It was held that the action could not be brought by the minority shareholders. Thus, where a wrong is done by the company can sue and action will not lie at the suit of minority of the members. Thus the rule of Force versus Harbottle is based on the maxim that only the injured party can sue. As company is the injured party and it has separate legal entity, so it is the only party that is entitled to sue in the case of wrong done to it by the majority of the members. If we talk about the exceptions to the rule of supremacy of the majority, this rule of supremacy of the majority was laid down in the case of Force versus Harbottle. This rule was laid down in the Force versus Harbottle, which operates only where the acts of the directors are of such a nature that the company is competent to ratify or approve by the majority. There are many acts which can't be ratified by the company by any majority. In these cases, this rule does not apply. Thus, the majority of the supremacy does not prevail in the certain circumstances. Number one, ultra virus and illegal acts. The rule of Force versus Harbottle does not apply where the acts complained of, that is ultra virus of the company, as whole of the body of the shareholders can't ratify such an act even unanimously. In the case of Bharat Insurance Company Limited versus Kanhaiya Lal in 1935, the plaintiff was a shareholder of a complaint respondent company. The one of the object of the appellant company was to advance the money at the interest rate on the security of land, house, machinery, and any other property that is situated in India. The company made several investments with the adequate security and contrary to provisions of the memorandum. The plaintiff prayed for the perpetual injunction to restrain it from making such investments. Court observed that the board rule is that in all the matters of internal management of the company itself is the best judge of its affairs, and court could not interfere. But the application of the assets of the company is not a matter of internal management. It is alleged that the directors are acting ultra vires in their application to the funds of the company. In these circumstances, a single member can maintain a suit for the declaration. Plaintiff's own conduct in the circumstances must be proper. In the another case, that is the case of Narkombe versus Narkombe. In 1985, in this case, the action brought by a wife, a minority shareholder, against the wrongdoing by her husband as director, as she earned improper profit during their matrimonial proceedings by the husband. It was held by the Honorable Court that she was not a proper plaintiff for the detritive acts. And the second circumstance, that is fraud on minority rights, where the conduct of the majority of a companies amount to the fraud on the minority. The majority of the shareholders can be impeached even by a single shareholder. In the case of Cook versus Davis, certain directors who held three-fourths of the shares holding of the company entered into the contract in their own name in the general meeting. They declared that it had no interest in the contract. It was held that the directors were trying to commit the fraud on the minority and the action would lie on the behalf of the minority shareholders. And the next third condition, that is the protection of the minority rights. Helmet has rightly observed that a proper balance of the right of majority and minority shareholders that is essential for the smooth functioning of the company. Thus, the minority shareholders are required to be protected from the unjust and unfair conduct of the majority. Majority is not allowed to approve or excuse the wrong act of the directors of the company. In these cases, shareholders is entitled to sue in his own name, even if wrong is to be redressal in a wrong to the company. And the next condition, that is wrongdoer in control. If the company is in the hands of wrongdoers themselves, then the safeguards of the interest of the company, any member or members may bring an action in the name of the company. In the case of Gilas versus Atkin, in this case, a company was controlled the two defendants and two plaintiffs. An action was brought by the two plaintiffs. They alleged that the two defendants had fraudulently converted the company's asset into in their own name. The plaintiff succeeded. Next condition, that is the resolution or acts that require the special majority. There are the certain acts which can only be ratified, which can only be passed only by special resolution in the general meeting of the shareholders. A shareholder can sue if an act that is requiring the special majority is done by passing only the ordinary resolution or without passing any such special resolution in the manner required by the law. Such an action was allowed in the case of the case Vari Cotton Mills Limited versus Kamal Chakravarti in 1973. And the next condition, that is the individual's membership rights. Every shareholder has vested in their certain personal rights against the company. A large number of such rights have been conferred upon the shareholders by the Act itself. Such rights are known as individual membership rights, and such rights such rights includes right to vote, right to have vested records, and right to stand as director of the company in the election. And these rights cannot be invaded by the majority of the shareholders. And the next one is, that is statutory exceptions. If we talk about the statutory exceptions, there are certain statutory exceptions. One of them, that is variation of shareholders' right. According to Section 48 of the Company Act, where the share capital of the company is divided into different classes of the shares, different classes of the shares, the rights attached to any class of shares may be varied with the written consent of the holders of not less than 3/4 of the shareholders of the class. And the next statutory exception, that is the oppression and mismanagement. If we talk about the oppression and mismanagement, Section 241 of the Company Act lays down that there are the circumstances in which an application may be made to the tribunal by any member of the company or by the central government or by the central government for relief in the cases of oppression and mismanagement in the affairs of the company. So far as prevention of oppression and mismanagement is concerned, Section 241 says that an application for the relief under this section may be made by the requisite number of the members who complains that the affairs of the company are being conducted in a manner that is prejudicial to the public interest or in a manner prejudicial to the oppressive to him or any other member to the tribunal. Then such acts can be prevented. As per Section 241 Clause 1 Clause B, it provides for relief in the case of mismanagement. It provides that any member of the company who complains that the material change not being a change that has been brought about by in the interest of any of the creditors, including the debenture holders or any class of the shareholders of the company, then that has taken place in the management or control of the company, whether by an alteration in the board of directors or managers in the ownership of the shares, may apply to the tribunal, provided such members has a right to apply under Section 244 of the Company Act for an order. If we talk about the definition of oppression, dictionary meaning of the oppression implies for the tyrannical and cruel treatment to any person. So it means unfair and unjust conduct resulting in unjust or harsh burden. In the company law, the meaning of the term oppression was well explained by the Lord Cooper in the case of Elder and Western Company Limited. That was in 1952. In this case, the petitioner, who were also the shareholders in a small family company, were removed by the majority from the directors and also from their employment as the secretary and factory manager. The petition failed because they had not offered as shareholders but in different capacities. The central government, if in its opinion the affairs of the company are being conducted in a manner that is prejudicial to the public interest, it may itself apply to the tribunal for an order under this section. If we talk about the examples of oppression, first example, that is an attempt to deprive a member of his ordinary membership right, that is oppression. Second, where the directors don't call general meeting and keep the shareholders in the dark, it may amount to the oppression, as it was held in the case of Hindustan Corporation Insurance Society Limited case in 1961. And third example, that is the non-maintenance of statutory records and not conducting the affairs of the company as per provisions of the Company Act. That is an example of oppression. It was held in the case of Bajirao G. Ghatke versus Bombay Docking Company Limited. Next example, that is where the members are deprived of their rights to vote, to call the meetings, to elect the directors, or to receive the dividend. That is also an example of oppression. And that is held in the case of Mohanlal Chandralal versus Punjab Company Limited in 1968 by the Punjab and Haryana High Court. And next example, that is the way the directors wrongfully refused to register the transfer of the shares. It was held in the case of Mrs. Gajrabai versus Patni Transport Company Limited in 1966 by the Andhra Pradesh High Court. These are the certain examples where there is oppression. If we talk about the examples where the relief was refused, there are the certain circumstances. First circumstance, that is where the relief claimed by a person is not in the capacity of as a member. Second, relief cannot be granted former, inefficient or error of the judgment on the part of the management. Third, where the company does not declare any dividend, the shareholders cannot insist and payment of the dividend. This is also not an example of oppression. So this was all about the oppression and mismanagement. The most important question for the coming exam that may be asked for 20 marks or 10 marks. If you have any doubt, you must put down in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe this channel for the further update. Thank you.